You said something, or you did something. Maybe you don't even know what. And now there's nothing. They won't look at you, won't answer. You ask if everything's okay and you get a flat, "I'm fine." That's clearly not fine. The room fills up with it, that specific, heavy quiet that follows you around the house, the silent treatment. And the reason it works, the reason it gets under your skin like almost nothing else, is that you can't argue with silence. There's nothing to grab onto. Someone yells, at least you have something to push against. Silence gives you nothing. You're left alone with your own mind, filling in the blanks, usually with the worst version. So let's talk about what's actually happening in that quiet, because it's not one thing, and that difference matters more than almost anything else here. Here's the mistake almost everyone makes. We assume all silence is the same silence. It's not. There are two completely different things going on, and they look identical from the outside. Same closed door, same "I'm fine," totally different machinery underneath. Let me give you both. The first one is silence as a move. This is the one we usually mean when we say the silent treatment. It's withdrawal aimed at you. The point of it is for you to feel the absence, to notice it, to be unsettled by it. And it works by making you do the work. They don't have to say, "I'm angry and I want you to worry." The silence says it. You start managing them, walking on eggshells, apologizing for things you're not even sure you did, working to get back into their good graces. That's the tell. If the silence makes you start scrambling to fix it, and they let you scramble, that's silence being used. It's a way to hold power in the relationship without ever having to say a direct word. Nothing can be pinned on them. They never said anything. They were just being quiet. That's the version that deserves the bad reputation. But here's the second one, and this is the one that gets missed. Sometimes the silence isn't a move at all. It's a shutdown. Some people, when they're overwhelmed, really overwhelmed, go quiet because there's genuinely nothing else available to them. The system floods, too much feeling, too fast, and the words just aren't there. They're not plotting. They're not making you do anything. They've gone offline. And from the outside, this looks exactly like the first one. Same closed door, same "I'm fine." But inside, it couldn't be more different. The first person knows exactly what they're doing. The second person can barely think. If you treat the second kind like the first, if you go in assuming manipulation when the person's actually drowning, you make it worse. You push someone who has no capacity to respond, and they shut down harder. And a person who might have come back in 20 minutes is now gone for 2 days. So before you decide which one you're dealing with, you have to actually look, not assume. Look. Here's roughly how you tell them apart. Watch what the silence is for. The punishing silence wants an audience. It needs you to see it, to react, to chase. It tends to ease the moment you give enough ground. It's transactional, even if neither of you would call it that. The flooding silence doesn't want an audience. It usually wants space. Pushing makes it worse, not better. Give it a little room and it tends to come back on its own once the system settles. One's asking you to chase, the other's asking you to wait. And if you get those two backwards, chase the one that needs space, wait out the one that's actually a power move, you'll make both of them worse. Now I want to turn this around gently before we finish, because everything I've just described from the outside, you've almost certainly been on the inside of. You've gone silent on someone. Everyone has. So here's the honest question. When you want quiet, which one is it? Were you genuinely flooded, no words available, needing space? Sometimes, sure, that's real. But if you're honest, was there ever a time the silence did a little more than that? A time part of you knew the quiet was landing, that they were starting to worry, and some part of you, some small part, didn't altogether mind that? That you could have said, "I'm upset, give me a minute," and chose the silence instead because the silence made them feel it? Most of us have done both. And most of us prefer to remember only the flooded version, the one where we were overwhelmed and blameless, and quietly forget the times it was a move, a manipulation tactic. That's not a comfortable thing to look at, but it's a thing that actually changes how this goes. Because once you can feel the difference from the inside, once you know what your own punishing silence feels like versus your own flooded silence, you get much harder to fool from the outside. In yourself first, and then in everyone else. So the next time that quiet fills a room, the useful question isn't, why are they doing this to me? It's two questions. What is this silence actually for? Is it asking me to chase or asking me to wait? And do I know this one from the inside? Because you probably do. That's the thread underneath a lot of what I do, the structures we run without quite admitting that we're running them. There's more of it at profrjstar.com if it's something you want to follow further.